Thank you very much, Leo. My name's Tim Stoles now. I'm the CEO and founder of MyVenue. I'm going to run through a bit of an overview of MyVenue first, and then I'm going to talk about all the data we capture and why this data is super powerful and super important to the sports and entertainment sector. So MyVenue was founded in 2001. We did our first venue in North America in 2001. And we do point of sale for stadiums and arenas. So our product is a software as a service product. We go out to every part of the venue. We started right in the middle of COVID. And certainly I looked at whether that was the smartest thing to do. Of course, in sports and entertainment, we all know that was largely shut down. But we've gone from one venue to 170 venues, major venues in North America, and I'll run through some of those venues shortly, but everything from NFL stadiums, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, convention centers, zoos, and amphitheaters and beyond. So our mission is changing the game, and we're doing that. And I want to talk about some of the things that we're doing. We're hardware agnostic, and that's easy to say, but we are truly hardware agnostic. So what does that mean? That means we can go into Little Caesars Arena. We can use their 4 or 5 year old point of sale terminals. We can save hundreds of tons a year across the industry of electronic waste going into landfill, which is significant. It also means venues can upgrade to our software, our modern next generation hosted environment. We'll get onto the data shortly, but it means that they can upgrade very quickly. They might only have a 5-day window where they're dark and they want to upgrade to a modern point of sale solution. So we do every part of a venue, and I'm going to get into that now. We have a point of sale solution, so that sits out there. We operate in bars, full service restaurants. We do merchandise, we do concession stands, we do portables, vending, suites. Every part of a venue, from selling t-shirts in the parking lot to hot dogs in the back of a concourse somewhere. We have kiosks. We do a mobile solution, which is super cool. So everywhere in a venue where food and beverage or merch is sold or delivered to a venue, we have a solution. And that all feeds back into a back office software application, which is cloud-based, accessible anywhere, called MV Manager. MV Manager does all the warehouse, stock control, event setup and reporting, recipe management. Not most importantly, we're a very comprehensive solution, but it's all real time. So all of this data is coming back into the back office at, sometimes hundreds of sales a minute from a Super Bowl or from the Miami Grand Prix or from whatever venue we happen to be operating in. All this data is coming into the back office. And that's really powerful. I'll just run you through, because it's a bit of a technical conference, I'll run you through a little bit of the technical. So out there in the world, we use a product called Google Firebase. And Google Firebase is very redundant. We all know when you get in a college venue, sometimes they're older facilities, they're sports facilities. We do the University of Michigan. There's parts of the area that don't have good Wi-Fi, the network is unreliable. This Google Firebase is very robust. It enables us to very quickly synchronize the point of sale, wherever it is out there in the stadium, back into the cloud. Once the data gets into the cloud, that's where the music really starts playing. That's where the game comes together. So we are providing huge amounts of data to F&B directors, to IT personnel, to finance personnel. You would be surprised probably to know that quite often the CFO of the venue is looking at their browser and monitoring the revenue that's coming in and what venues, what locations are selling the fastest and what the predicted outcome might be at the end of the event. So all of that happens in the cloud and back into MV Manager. we use Google BigQuery as our data lake, and it's a very powerful tool. And it's powerful because we can analyze huge amounts of data very quickly in order to present metrics and KPIs and recommendations to the various functional areas of a venue to ensure optimal performance. So what does changing the game mean? Well, let me tell you a couple of things about how this industry works. We're generating all this data. What does it mean at the point of sale? Research shows that that the majority of Americans favour or prefer their food and beverage experience second to none only after team performance. So all of those other things that venues focus on, getting people in and out of the venue quickly, how with the restrooms and where they are and where they're seating and what the temperature is and all of that sort of thing, food and beverage experience is super important. The other interesting metric is that 50% of fans have abandoned a line every year because it's just too long. So every second counts. So there's a lot of work going into CRM systems and trying to get fans and understand why they buy and what they... What about speed of service? What about how we can improve speed of service? Well, we do all the CRMs, we do the gift cards, we do all of that. But an area that is very underutilized in this space is looking at metrics around speed of service. So what does that mean? Let me go here to data at scale. We collect all this data. We even collect from third parties. So we integrate with a very common one, of course, is Amazon Just Walk Out. We send them the menus at the start of the game. This is what you're selling. This is the price of what you're selling at. There's a Lady Gaga concert on a Friday night, college football game on the Saturday, professional football game on the Sunday, whatever. We all know that prices change, menus change, cotton candy store in the morning because it's a kiddies concert, beer portable in the evening because it's a basketball game. So all of this data is controlled centrally by MyVenue, and it's sent out to our point of sale, but also to third-party point of sales. And we're agnostic. If a venue comes to us and says, yeah, we know you've got a kiosk solution, but we want to use Tap-In-2 for our kiosk solution, we go, fine. You can use Tap-In-2, we integrate with Tap-In-2. So we have these dashboards, people use them all the time, those various verticals, IT, finance, operations, super important. What about this data? Well, this data comes back into our system and we look at it real time. We look at it and we go, well, how fast is this point of sale? How fast is this operator? How much money would we make? How much extra revenue would we make if we could save a second of every transaction? So we look at that data and you can see in here, these are some events. You can see that first graph. You can see it gets busy, 300 sales a second coming into the back office. And then bang, the game starts, it drops off. There's another peak at quarter time, there's a peak at half time, and then everything dies down and settles back to nothing by the end of the game. Look at the transaction count. Look at the average time that it takes between one transaction and the next. That's interesting to us because we might say, look, if when a location is busy, if we can save a second, that second might translate to $1 a minute. And that venue, that location may be busy for 80 minutes a game. You're making $80 extra in revenue out of each one of those venues just because you saved 1 second off the transaction. That's very meaningful to these venues that are trying to eke every ounce of revenue out of their venue every year. So our data analytics, our new data analytics dashboard is looking at all this data. It's looking at how often a venue is busy. You can see that pie chart on the right-hand side there that says that roughly nearly 75% of the time locations are busy and 25% of the time they're not busy. So saving time when you're not busy, that's good, but you know it's not going to make you a whole lot of money. The money's to be made when you're busy. And And we look at these metrics and you might say, well, what are the things you can look at? Well, obviously, if someone's serving more quickly, you say, is that good training? Is that a good menu layout? What else could it be? We look at how long does it take to enter a tip, right? Everyone wants tips now. Tips are everywhere and they're all on credit cards. Sometimes they take a long time. We've all been frustrated when you've gone in there and you can't even see the tip line and you're bending over and the light's not right and you can't. So you look at it and you go, this location tips are really slow. Why is that? This location, this person always serves more unique items per sale than anyone else in the venue. Why is that? This person or this whole location is more inefficient than all these other locations. You go, why is that? Is that the layout of the stand? Is that the hot dog delivery area is not in the right location? What? So by looking at all these metrics and looking at them real time, you can see all sorts of things. This person's just done 3 comps in a row. Maybe we should go out and see what's going on. So all this data is coming back real time, and our business data analytics, dashboards and processes are producing all of this information for the various functional areas of the venue. We also do alerts. We also enable, hey, we think this location's going to run out of hot dog rolls in 20 minutes. Is that a good thing? Are we okay with that? Is that the end of the game? Or do we need to ship some hot dog rolls up there now? So that's what MyVenue does. We do point of sale, but we're putting this data on steroids. We generate, across these 170 venues now, and we're growing, we're doubling almost every year, we are generating millions and millions of sales and processing billions of dollars of revenue. And we're using that data to help venues generate more revenue per year from every point of sale device they have out there. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. So my question is, can you talk a little bit about the average ROI one of these venues picks up? I would imagine some of it depends on their ability to optimize their operations based on your feedback. So just the range of expected ROI.
So obviously the ROI varies a lot from one venue to another. Some venues don't put in any hardware and they just put in our software. But typically they would be paying for this system in a year or two with the improved metrics that they're getting from the venue. I mean, there's a lot of other things other than business data analytics that go to generate that return as well. We pride ourselves on being able to reconcile credit cards quickly and being able to reconcile the event so you can close the event down and go home and do it all again the next day. So we don't specifically pull out, one particular part of our solution and say this is the ROI on the business analytics side or the operation of the back office. But typically we would see that in a year or two, the business is experiencing a revenue positive situation on our cost versus their benefit.
I have 2 questions. First one would be in terms of your contracts, like with these venues, how I think you've been since 2021, right? So,
yes.
Okay, so are you seeing good retention, or how many people are sticking with it?
Yep.
That's one question. And then the other one would be what we see on our end is you've got feedback from the people using it, and you have the feedback from the people making money off of it, right? Like, so ownership versus the people that are in there all day. Curious what feedback you've gotten from the people that are running these stands saying, is this easier to work with? Is it harder to work with?
Yeah. So 2 things. One, we've got 0 churn. We've never lost a customer in North America, and we're very proud of that. The second point you asked is about the server or the attendance acceptability. One of the things that we focused on with our product is to make it easy to use, easy and fast to use. It needs to be intuitive. We all know that in these venues there's volunteer groups in a college football stadium. There's a scout group or a church group or a family group that comes in and runs a stand. This needs to be easy to use. And I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised to know that there's venues where we go live and you turn up at the stand and it's like 3 minutes before gates and you say, right, everyone's aware that we've got a new point of sale system, and they're like, no, they're loading chips into the fryer or whatever. And so then you say, right, 2-minute lesson on how to use the point of sale. Here's how you do a sale. Here's how you do a refund, and they're away. So the user acceptance has been very strong across all parts. So it's not just obviously concessions. It's suites and it's full service bars, restaurants, vending, the whole 9 yards.
Just one question for me. So when you are approaching a new potential customer, what's like the biggest objection you get for someone adopting your solution?
So the biggest, we don't lose, and I don't want to appear too arrogant, but we don't lose a lot of business. The biggest one we probably do is where credit card companies come in and sponsor the venue and put their own point of sale system in. So that would be the biggest, and the larger the venue, the more likely is something like that to happen. But we do AT&T Stadium, we do the Dodgers, the Arizona Cardinals, and the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Dolphins. So we are breaking through. People are, and this is an education process because we want to show venues that they can generate a lot more revenue from this and they can still go and get their credit card sponsor separately, but this having a great product will help them serve their customers better, help them keep their food service staff happier because they're going home on time and everything balances, and that keeps fans happy and spending more, and that makes sports teams happy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.